Zarathik stood in the main hall of Nexus Station and tried to calm her racing heart. She was a diplomat for the Vexarian people. She had done this job for 30 years. She had met aliens from 50 different worlds. But today felt different. Her silver skin was already starting to show stress patterns. Little waves of color moved across her forearms. This was bad. Diplomats were supposed to stay calm. They were supposed to control their emotions. But something was wrong with her today. The human ship was coming. The humans were a new species. They had only been traveling in space for 50 years. Most species took hundreds of years to reach other stars. But humans were fast. Too fast, maybe. Zarathik touched the small device on her neck. It helped block strong emotions from other people. Her people could feel what others felt. It was a gift, but also a curse. Strong emotions could hurt them. That was why they needed the blockers. "The human ship is here," said her assistant Veltar. He was young and excited. His green scales were bright with curiosity. "They call it the New Horizon." Through the big windows, Zarathik could see the human ship. It was not pretty like Vexarian ships. It was built for work, not beauty. Gray metal and sharp edges. It looked dangerous. "Remember the rules," Zarathik told her team. "Keep your emotion blockers on high, stay calm. These humans are supposed to be very intense." She had read all the reports. Humans were aggressive. They fought wars with each other. They took big risks. They felt emotions very strongly, too strongly for most aliens to handle. The airlock doors opened with a soft sound. 3 humans walked through. The first one was tall and wide across the shoulders. He had dark hair and a big smile. He walked like he owned the space around him. Not in a mean way, but with confidence. This had to be their leader. Behind him was a woman with long black hair. She carried a small computer and looked at everything with bright, curious eyes. Her head moved quickly as she took in all the details of the station. The third human was a man with short gray hair. He walked behind the others, but his eyes never stopped moving. He was watching for danger. "A guard, probably. Hello," the first human said in a loud, happy voice. "I am Captain Jake Morrison. This is Dr. Lisa Park and Commander Alex Turner. We are so excited to meet you." The word excited hit Zarathik like a physical blow. Her emotion blocker should have stopped it. But somehow the human's feelings went right through her defenses. Jake Morrison was not just saying he was excited. He really felt it. The emotion poured off him like heat from a fire. Joy, curiosity, hope, and something else. Something warm and open that made Zarathik's breath catch in her throat. "I am Zarathik of the Vexarian Collective," she managed to say. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "Welcome to Nexus Station." Jake stepped forward with his hand out. Humans touched hands when they met. She knew this from the reports. But when she reached out to touch his hand, another wave of emotion hit her. This human was genuinely happy to meet her, not just polite or professional. He was truly glad to be here talking to her. When had anyone ever felt that way about meeting her? Dr. Park stepped up next. "This is amazing," she said, looking around the station. "The design is so elegant. And the gravity systems. How do you make it feel so natural?" Her curiosity was like bright light. It made Zarathik want to answer every question, to share everything she knew. The feeling was so strong it made her dizzy. Commander Turner nodded politely but said nothing. Even his silence had weight. He cared about his friends. He would protect them no matter what. The strength of his loyalty was like a warm wall surrounding the other 2 humans. "Please come this way," Zarathik said. She led them toward the meeting room. Each step was hard. The human's emotions kept hitting her in waves. Her blocker was not working at all. As they walked, Jake looked at the art on the walls. "This is beautiful," he said about a crystal sculpture. "It looks like it is moving even though it is still." He meant it. He really thought the art was beautiful. Most aliens just walked past Vexarian art. They thought it was too simple or too strange. But this human saw beauty in it. Dr. Park stopped at a window that showed the gas giant below them. "Look at those storms," she said. "They have been going for thousands of years. Think of all the energy in there." She was not afraid of the giant storms. She thought they were wonderful. Her excitement made Zarathik's heart beat faster. "Your people built this station well," Commander Turner said quietly. "Safe but welcoming. That takes skill." Even his simple compliment carried weight. He knew about building things. He knew about keeping people safe. His respect for Vexarian engineering was real and deep. By the time they reached the meeting room, Zarathik was struggling to walk straight. The human's emotions were too much. Too bright, too strong, too real. She sat down quickly and tried to center herself. "Would you like some refreshments?" she asked. "That would be great," Jake said. "We brought some things from Earth, too. Coffee and chocolate. We thought you might like to try them." The simple kindness of sharing food from their homeworld made Zarathek's eyes water. When had anyone ever offered to share something precious with her people? As her assistant brought drinks, Zarathek watched the humans. They talked to each other in low voices, but their emotions filled the room like music. Friendship, trust, shared purpose. Feeling so strong they made her own heart ache. She touched her emotion blocker again. It was working fine. The problem was not with the device. The problem was that human emotions were stronger than anything she had ever felt before. The meeting had been going on for 2 hours. Zarathek felt like she had been in a storm. Jake Morrison sat across from her talking about trade routes between Earth and the Vexarian worlds. His words were normal, professional, but underneath the words his emotions sang. He cared about his people. He wanted them to have good lives. He hoped this meeting would help both humans and Vexarians. The hope was so bright it hurt to feel. "The Terran Federation can offer advanced computer technology," Jake was saying. "In return, we would like to learn about your crystal growing methods." Dr. Park leaned forward. "The crystals you use for power storage are amazing. We have nothing like them on Earth. How do you make them grow in perfect patterns?" Her curiosity was like a fire. It made Zarathek want to tell her everything. Every secret, every method, every discovery her people had made. The feeling was dangerous. Diplomats were not supposed to share everything. "The process takes many years," Zarathek said carefully. "It requires great patience. We are good at being patient when we need to be," Commander Turner said quietly. That was not true, and they all knew it. Humans were famous for being impatient. But Turner's words carried a different meaning. He was saying they would try to be patient for something important. They would change their nature if they had to. The honesty of it made Zarathek's breath catch. Jake smiled. "Alex is right. We can be patient. But we are also eager to learn. Your people have been traveling in space for thousands of years. We have so much to learn from you." There it was again. That openness. That willingness to admit they did not know everything. Most species tried to seem strong and smart in negotiations. Humans seemed to find strength in admitting they needed help. Zarathek excused herself and went to the bathroom. She needed a moment alone. In the mirror, she could see that her silver skin was showing rainbow patterns. Stress patterns mixed with something else. Something she had not felt in years. Excitement. She was excited to be talking to these humans. Their emotions were overwhelming, yes, but they were also wonderful. Like music that was too loud but too beautiful to turn off. Her communication device buzzed. A message from Elder Quindar, her supervisor. "How are the negotiations going?" the message asked. Zarathek started to type back, then stopped. How could she explain this? That the humans were not just intense, but that their intensity was addictive? That she wanted to feel more of their emotions even though they hurt? Proceeding normally, she typed instead. It was a lie. Nothing about this was normal. When she returned to the meeting room, Dr. Park was showing Jake and Turner something on her computer. "Look at this," she was saying. "The station's power systems are running at 98% efficiency. That is incredible." She was not just impressed, she was amazed. Her wonder made the room feel brighter. "Your engineers must be very skilled," Jake said. "They are," Zarathek said, sitting back down. "But we also have help. The crystals almost seem to want to work properly. As if they are alive." Dr. Park's eyes went wide. "Alive? You mean they have some kind of biological component?" "Not biological," Zarathek said. "Something else. Something we do not fully understand." She should not have said that. Admitting ignorance was not good diplomacy. But Dr. Park's curiosity had pulled the words out of her. "That is even more amazing," Dr. Park said. "A technology that works without complete understanding. Like magic. Magic that works is just science we have not figured out yet," Commander Turner said. Jake laughed. "Alex has been reading philosophy again." The laugh was warm and real. It filled the room like sunlight. Zarathek found herself almost smiling back. These humans laughed with each other. They were friends, not just co-workers. The bond between them was strong and clean and beautiful. "We should take a break," Jake said. "Maybe you could show us more of the station?" "If that is okay," Zarathek nodded. She led them out of the meeting room and down the main corridor. Other Vexarians they passed stopped and stared. Not at the humans themselves, but at the emotions following them like invisible clouds. A young engineer named Catherine actually stepped backward when Jake smiled at her. Her scales turned bright orange with shock. "Did we do something wrong?" Dr. Park asked, noticing the reaction. "No," Zarathek said quickly. "We are just not used to such strong emotions." "Oh," Jake said. His face showed concern. "Are we making you uncomfortable?" "We can try to be more calm," he meant it. He would actually try to change how he felt to make them more comfortable. The kindness of it was like a physical blow. "It is not your fault," Zarathek said. "We are the ones who are too sensitive." "Hey," Dr. Park said gently. "Being sensitive is not a bad thing. It just means you feel things deeply." Turner nodded. "On Earth we have a saying, the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. Maybe being sensitive makes you stronger, not weaker." They were trying to make her feel better. These powerful, overwhelming humans were being gentle with her. The contrast made her want to cry. They reached the observation deck. Through the huge windows, they could see the gas giant below. Its storm swirled in patterns of orange and red. "Beautiful," Jake said softly. "Dangerous too," Turner added. "But sometimes the most beautiful things are." Dr. Park was taking pictures with a small device. "The storm patterns are so complex. There must be incredible forces at work down there." "There are," Zarathek said. "The storms have been going for 10,000 years. Some of our poets say they are the planet's dreams." "Poets," Dr. Park repeated. "I like that. Scientists and poets looking at the same thing and seeing different truths." The three humans stood at the window sharing the view. Their emotions mixed together like colors in water. Jake's wonder, Dr. Park's curiosity, Turner's quiet appreciation, and underneath it all, something else. Something that made Zarathek's heart race. They were happy to be here, happy to be together, happy to be alive. When had she last felt that kind of simple joy in existing? "We should head back," Jake said finally. "We have a lot more to discuss." As they walked back to the meeting room, Zarathek realized something that scared her. She did not want this meeting to end. She wanted to keep feeling these incredible human emotions even though they hurt. Even though they were breaking down every defense she had, she was becoming addicted to the very thing that was destroying her carefully controlled life. And the worst part was, she thought she liked it. Dr. Lisa Park had been watching the Vexarian diplomat for 3 hours now. Something was wrong. Zarathek's silver skin kept changing colors. Her 4 hands shook when she thought no one was looking. Twice she had excused herself from the meeting room. Lisa was a xenobiologist. She studied alien life forms. She knew the signs of biological distress when she saw them. "Captain," she said quietly during another break, "I think we might be making our host sick." Jake Morrison looked surprised. "Sick? How?" "Look at her color patterns. The way she keeps touching that device on her neck. Her breathing rate has increased by 30% since we arrived." Commander Turner frowned. "Should we leave?" "No," Lisa said. "Let me run some scans first." With her permission, of course. When Zarathek returned, Lisa approached carefully. "I hope this is not rude to ask, but are you feeling well? You seem stressed." Zarathek's skin flashed through several colors quickly. "I am fine," she said, but her voice was tight. "I am a doctor," Lisa said gently. "I study how different species react to new environments. May I scan you, just to make sure you are healthy?" Zarathek hesitated, then nodded. Lisa pulled out a small medical scanner. It was designed to work on any carbon-based life form. She pointed it at Zarathek and watched the readings. Her eyes went wide. "Jake," she said quietly, "look at this." The scanner showed Zarathek's nervous system. It was lighting up like a Christmas tree. Electrical activity was jumping between her nerve clusters in wild patterns. "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "Her neural pathways are overloaded," Lisa said. "It is like someone turned the volume up too high on a radio. Everything is too loud." She looked at Zarathek with new understanding. "We are doing this to you, are not we? Our emotions are too strong for your people to handle." Zarathek's skin went pale silver. She had been caught. "It is not your fault," she said quickly. "We knew humans felt things strongly. We just did not know how strongly." Turner stepped back. "Are we hurting you?" "Not hurting," Zarathek said. "Just overwhelming." Lisa studied the scanner readings more carefully. "This is fascinating. Your people are natural empaths. You feel what others feel. But our emotional output is so strong it is causing a feedback loop in your nervous system. A feedback loop? Jake asked. Like an echo that gets louder each time, Lisa explained. The stronger we feel something, the more she feels it. The more she feels it, the stronger her reaction becomes, which makes us react more strongly to her distress, which makes her feel even more. Jake looked horrified. We are torturing her just by being ourselves. No, Zarathek said quickly. It is not torture. It is just intense. But Lisa was watching the scanner. Something else was showing up in the readings. Something unexpected, Zarathek, she said slowly. Can you tell me how you feel about our emotions? Honestly? Zarathek was quiet for a long moment. Her skin shifted through several colors. They are overwhelming, she said finally. But they are also beautiful. We have not felt anything so real in a very long time. Lisa nodded. The scanner was showing something amazing. Despite the overload, Zarathek's brain was producing endorphins. Happy chemicals. She was suffering, but she was also experiencing something like joy. You are addicted to our emotions, Lisa said with wonder. Your people have been suppressing your feelings for so long that ours feel like a drug. That is impossible, Zarathek said. But her skin showed she was lying. Turner had been listening quietly. Now he spoke up. On Earth, we have people who are very sensitive too. They feel everything more than others. We call them empaths. What do they do? Zarathek asked. How do they survive? They learn to control what they let in, Turner said. They build walls. But they also learn that feeling deeply is not a weakness. It is a gift. Jake was still looking worried. What can we do to help? Lisa was thinking fast. The device on your neck, it is an emotion blocker, right? Zarathek nodded, but it is not working on us. Our emotions are too strong. Lisa pulled out her computer. What if we could adjust our emotional output? Like turning down the volume? How? Jake asked. Meditation techniques. Emotional regulation exercises. Things we use to help people with anxiety or PTSD. Turner raised an eyebrow. You want us to suppress our emotions? Not suppress, Lisa said. Control. Like learning to speak more quietly in a library. But Zarathek was shaking her head. No, please do not change yourselves for us. Why not? Jake asked. Zarathek's skin cycled through colors rapidly. She was struggling with something. Because, she said finally, what you feel is what we used to feel. Before we learned to be afraid of it, the humans exchanged looks. Your people suppressed their emotions? Lisa asked. Centuries ago, Zarathek said. We were like you once. We felt everything strongly, but it made us chaotic, unpredictable. So we learned to control ourselves. To feel less. And now? Turner asked. Now we are dying, Zarathek whispered. Not physically, but emotionally. We have forgotten how to feel real joy, real excitement, real love. Jake stepped closer. And our emotions remind you what that was like. Zarathek nodded. Tears were running down her silver cheeks. That is why it hurts so much, she said. It is not just that your feelings are strong. It is that they show us what we lost. Lisa looked at her scanner readings again. Other Vexarians on the station were being affected too. Their life signs were changing. Some looked distressed, but others looked awakened. What if? Lisa said slowly. This is not a problem to solve. What if this is an opportunity? What do you mean? Zarathek asked. What if our people could help your people remember how to feel again? Not all at once, slowly, safely. Jake's face lit up with understanding, like emotional therapy. Exactly, Lisa said. We could work together, learn from each other. You could teach us how to control our emotions better. We could help you reconnect with yours. Turner was nodding. A partnership. Not just for trade, but for healing. Zarathek stared at them. Hope was growing in her chest, real hope. Not the careful optimism she was used to. You would do that? She asked. You would help us learn to feel again? Of course, Jake said simply. That is what friends do. The word friends hit Zarathek like a warm wave. These humans, after knowing her for only a few hours, already considered her a friend. When had anyone ever called her a friend, just for being herself? For the first time in her life, Zarathek stopped trying to control her emotions. She let herself feel everything the humans were giving her. The joy, the hope, the genuine caring, it was overwhelming. It was terrifying. It was wonderful. And for the first time in centuries, a Vexarian began to remember what it felt like to be truly alive. The cultural exchange dinner was Jake Morrison's idea. He wanted to share human traditions with the Vexarians. He wanted them to understand what made humans special. He had no idea what he was about to unleash. The main dining hall was decorated with items from both cultures. Vexarian crystal sculptures sat next to human photographs. The lighting was soft and warm, making everyone feel comfortable. 12 Vexarians had come to the dinner. Most were curious about human food. Some wanted to study human behavior. All of them had their emotion blockers turned up high. None of them were prepared for what happened next. Jake stood up at the head of the table. He held a glass of water in his hand like humans did when they made speeches. "I want to tell you about my species," he said. "About what makes us who we are." His voice was warm and strong. But underneath the words, his emotions were even stronger. Pride in his people, love for his home world, hope for the future. Zarathek felt the first crack in her defenses. "Humans have not been in space very long," Jake continued. "Only 50 years ago we had never left our own planet. We were stuck on one small world fighting wars with each other." Dr. Park was nodding. Her sadness about human conflicts mixed with Jake's words. "But we never gave up," Jake said. "Even when things were darkest, we kept trying to be better. To reach higher. To touch the stars." His passion was like fire. It spread through the room, hitting every Vexarian present. Commander Turner spoke next. "My grandfather fought in the last big war on Earth," he said quietly. "He told me stories about how terrible it was, but he also told me why they kept fighting." "Why?" asked Veltar, Zarathek's young assistant. "Because they believed their children deserved a better world," Turner said. "They were willing to sacrifice everything so future generations could have peace." The love in his voice was overwhelming. Love for his grandfather. Love for the human soldiers who had died for a better future. Love for the children who would never know war. Zarathek's emotion blocker started to fail completely. Dr. Park pulled out her computer and showed pictures from Earth. "This is where we come from," she said. "These are our cities, our forests, our oceans." Each picture carried her wonder at the beauty of her home world, her excitement about sharing it with new friends, her hope that someday Vexarians might visit Earth. "It is beautiful," whispered Catherine, the young engineer. Her orange scales were glowing brighter than usual. "It is," Jake agreed. "But the most beautiful thing about Earth is not the places. It is the people." He talked about human families, about how parents would do anything to protect their children, about how friends stood by each other through good times and bad times. His love for his own family filled the room like music. His grief for the parents he had lost in an accident. His joy at the friends who had helped him become a starship captain. "Humans feel everything," Jake said. "Sometimes too much. We laugh when we are happy. We cry when we are sad. We get angry when we see unfairness. We love so hard it hurts," Turner nodded. "Other species think we are crazy because we feel so much. They think it makes us weak. But it makes us strong," Dr. Park added. "Our emotions give us power. They make us fight harder for what we believe in. They make us care about strangers. They make us willing to sacrifice for people we have never met." Jake raised his glass. "To feeling everything," he said. "Even when it hurts." The three humans drank their water. Their emotions swirled together in the room like a storm. And that was when Zarathek's carefully built walls finally crumbled. 30 years of suppressed feelings came flooding back all at once. Every emotion she had pushed down, every feeling she had been taught to ignore, every moment of joy she had denied herself. She stood up suddenly, her chair falling backward. "I cannot," she started to say. Then she stopped. Tears were streaming down her silver face. "I cannot remember the last time I felt proud of my people," she whispered, "or excited about tomorrow, or grateful to be alive." The other Vexarians stared at her in shock. Diplomats did not break down in public. They did not show weakness, but Jake Morrison did not see weakness. He saw courage. "When I was young," Zarathek continued, her voice shaking, "we were taught that strong emotions were dangerous, that they made us lose control. So we learned to feel less, to want less, to hope less." She looked around the room at her own people. "Look at us. We are dying inside and we call it civilization." Catherine's scales turned bright blue. She was feeling something too, something she had been taught to suppress. "I used to love building things," she said quietly. "Really love it. But they taught me to just do the job, to not care so much. Another Vexarian, an old scientist named Mordek, started to speak. I remember being excited about discoveries, about learning new things. But excitement was seen as unprofessional. One by one, the Vexarians began to crack. The human emotions were acting like keys, unlocking feelings they had buried for decades. We became smaller, Zarathik said, looking directly at Jake. We made ourselves smaller to feel safer. But you stayed big. You kept feeling everything even when it hurt. Jake stood up and walked around the table to her. Without asking permission, he put his hand on her shoulder. The gesture was simple, but the emotion behind it was huge. He cared about her pain. This human, who had known her for less than a day, genuinely wanted her to feel better. Feeling everything is scary, he said gently. But not feeling anything is worse. Dr. Park joined them. On Earth, we have a saying. It is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. But what if the feelings are too much? Zarathek asked. What if we cannot control them? Turner smiled for the first time all evening. Then you learn to surf the waves instead of trying to stop the ocean. The room was full of crying Vexarians now. But they were not crying from sadness. They were crying from relief. From remembering what it felt like to be alive. Veltar, the youngest one there, was laughing through his tears. I had forgotten what hope felt like, he said. Real hope, not just duty. Elder Quindar would be furious when he heard about this. The Vexarian Council would be terrified. Their whole society was built on emotional control. But for the first time in her adult life, Zarathek did not care what the authorities thought. These humans had given her something she thought was lost forever. They had reminded her what it meant to be truly alive. And if that was dangerous, then maybe it was time for her people to be dangerous again. Jake was still standing beside her, his hand warm on her shoulder. His emotions wrapped around her like a blanket. What happens now? She asked. Now, Jake said with a smile that could power a star, we figure out how to save your people from forgetting how to feel. For the first time in centuries, a Vexarian diplomat felt something her people had almost forgotten existed. She felt hope for the future. Real, burning, beautiful hope, and it was going to change everything. 3 weeks had passed since the dinner that changed everything. Zarathek sat in her office on Nexus Station, writing the most important report of her life. The words were hard to find. How do you tell your government that everything they believed was wrong? The humans are not dangerous, she wrote. They are what we used to be. Her door chimed. Jake Morrison walked in carrying 2 cups of coffee. It had become their morning tradition. How is the report going? He asked, setting 1 cup on her desk. Slowly, Zarathek admitted. The council will not want to hear this. Jake sat down across from her. Over the past 3 weeks, she had learned to handle his emotions better. They were still intense, but now they felt like music instead of noise. Tell me what they are saying, Jake said. Zarathek pulled up the messages from her home world. Elder Quindar thinks we should limit contact with humans. He says you are too dangerous for our society. Maybe he is right, Jake said quietly. Zarathek looked at him in surprise. What do you mean? We are dangerous, Jake said. Not because we want to hurt anyone, but because we change things. We make people question the way things are. Through the window, they could see other Vexarians working with the human crew. The changes were obvious. The Vexarians moved differently now. They talked more. They smiled. Dr. Park had been studying the effects for weeks. She had discovered something amazing. Lisa wants to show you something, Jake said. She thinks you will find it interesting. They walked to the medical bay where Dr. Park was working with a group of Vexarian volunteers. She had been teaching them meditation techniques to help control their newly awakened emotions. Zarathek, perfect timing, Dr. Park said. Look at this. She showed them brain scans of Vexarians before and after contact with humans. The differences were incredible. Before, your neural pathways were running at about 30% of capacity, Dr. Park explained. Your people had literally rewired your brains to feel less. And now? Zarathek asked. Now you are running at 60% and climbing. Your brains are healing themselves, growing new connections. Becoming more alive, Commander Turner joined them. He had been working with Vexarian security teams, teaching them about human methods of peacekeeping. The young ones are adapting faster, he reported. Veltar and his friends are already learning to balance feeling strongly with thinking clearly. Zarathek nodded. The younger Vexarians had been easier to help. They had not spent as many years suppressing their emotions. What about the older ones? She asked. Harder, Turner admitted, but not impossible. Mordek, the scientist, told me yesterday that he felt excited about his research for the first time in 40 years. Dr. Park pulled up another set of data. We have been working on something special. A way to help your people transition slowly, safely. She showed them a program she had designed with Vexarian doctors. It used a combination of human emotional therapy and Vexarian crystal technology. The crystals can store and replay emotional patterns, Dr. Park explained. We record healthy human emotions and filter them through the crystals. It lets Vexarians experience human feelings at a safe level. Like training wheels, Jake said. Exactly. Your people can learn to feel again without being overwhelmed. Zarathek was amazed. You would share this technology freely? Of course, Dr. Park said. This is not about one species helping another. This is about healing. A communication alert sounded. Elder Quindar was calling from the Vexarian homeworld. Zarathek accepted the call. The elder's face appeared on the screen, his scales showing deep concern. Zarathek, he said formally, the council has reviewed your preliminary reports. We are deeply troubled. Why? Zarathek asked, though she knew the answer. These humans are changing our people, making them unstable, emotional. We have reports of Vexarians crying in public, laughing too loudly, questioning authority. Yes, Zarathek said simply. They are becoming alive again. Elder Quindar's scales shifted to angry red. This is not acceptable. The council has decided to end contact with the humans immediately. Jake stepped into view of the camera. Elder Quindar, he said politely. May I speak? The elder looked surprised but nodded. Your people are not becoming unstable, Jake said. They are becoming themselves again. The selves they were meant to be before fear made them smaller. Fear? The elder demanded. Fear of feeling too much. Fear of losing control. Fear of being hurt. Jake's voice was gentle but firm. But life without feeling is not life at all. It is just existing. Zarathek stepped closer to the camera. Elder, I have felt more joy in the past 3 weeks than in the past 3 decades. So have the others who worked with the humans. Joy is dangerous, the elder said. It leads to poor decisions. No, Zarathek said. Joy leads to good decisions. Decisions based on love instead of fear. Dr. Park joined them. Elder, we have medical data showing that suppressing emotions damages brain function over time. Your people are literally dying from emotional starvation, Turner spoke up. We are not asking your people to become like us overnight. We are offering to help them heal slowly, safely. And in return? The elder asked suspiciously. In return, Jake said, we learn from you. Your people know things about emotional control that could help humans. We could teach each other. The elder was quiet for a long moment. His scales shifted through several colors as he thought. Show me, he said finally. Show me one of your people who has been changed by the humans. Zarathek called Veltar to the medical bay. The young engineer arrived quickly, his scales bright with curiosity. Veltar, Elder Quindar said sternly, report on your condition. I feel wonderful, Veltar said honestly. For the first time in my life, I love my work. I love learning. I love being alive. And your job performance? The elder asked. Better than ever, Veltar said. When you care about what you are doing, you do it better. Turner nodded. Emotional investment improves performance. Happy workers are productive workers. What about discipline? The elder demanded. Control? I have more control now, not less, Veltar said. The humans taught me that feeling emotions is not the same as being controlled by them. Dr. Park showed the elder the brain scans. Your people are not losing control. They are gaining it. True control comes from understanding your emotions, not suppressing them. Elder Quindar studied the data for several minutes. His scale slowly shifted from red to thoughtful blue. If we agree to this, he said finally, it must be voluntary. No Vexarian will be forced to change. Absolutely, Jake said. This only works if people choose it. And there must be safeguards, ways to help people who are overwhelmed. Already designed, Dr. Park said, showing him the crystal therapy program. And this alliance, the elder continued, it will be equal? Not humans teaching Vexarians, but both species learning from each other. That is what we want, Jake said. We need to learn emotional control from you. You need to learn emotional courage from us. Zarathek held her breath. Everything depended on what the elder decided. Very well, Elder Quindar said. We will try this, but slowly, carefully. After the call ended, the 4 humans and Zarathek stood in the medical bay, hardly believing what had happened. We did it, Dr. Park said softly. We actually did it, Jake smiled. This is just the beginning. Imagine what we can accomplish together. Turner nodded. Humans learning patience. Vexarians learning passion. Both species becoming stronger. Zarathek looked at these 3 humans who had changed her life, who had reminded her what it meant to feel truly alive. 6 months ago, she had been a diplomat going through the motions of living. Now she was part of something bigger, something that might save both their species from their worst instincts. Thank you, she said simply. For what? Jake asked. For not letting me stay calm, Zarathek said, smiling through happy tears. For shattering me in exactly the right way. Jake laughed, and the sound filled the room with warmth and hope. Outside the window, ships from both worlds were arriving. Volunteers who wanted to be part of something new. Something better. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when 2 species chose to heal each other instead of just coexist, and it was going to be beautiful.